Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Dudley College of Technology and our online parent and guardian induction talks. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to join us on this particular one, which is dedicated to parents or guardians of Dudley Sixth potential learners studying A-levels with us. Thank you ever so much for taking the time. We're really pleased to have you here. Normally we'd be doing these sorts of things face to face in our great hall at Broadway. Unfortunately, the current restrictions don't allow us to do that at the moment, so we're doing them all online. Hopefully the technology won't fail us. I'm joined today by our Vice Principal. If I could introduce the rest of my panel members, our Vice Principal, Diana Martin.
Hi, I'm Diana Martin. I'm Vice Principal for Curriculum and Standards, and Dudley Sixth sits under my area of responsibility.
And also our Head of Dudley Sixth, Horace Dennis.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Horace Dennis. I'm the Curriculum Manager for Dudley Sixth.
Thank you very much. My name's Neil Thomas. I'm the Chief Executive and Principal of Dudley College of Technology, of which Dudley Sixth is a part, of course. Really proud to be so. I'm really glad to be here this evening. Thank you again for joining us. We're going to mainly focus this evening on a question and answer session. So I'm going to tell you in a minute how you can pose questions to us, and between the three of us, we'll do our very best to answer those questions. Before we get on to those, though, I've got a few slides I'd like to share with you. Hopefully we'll answer some questions you might have and give you a little bit of background about what to expect for the next few weeks and what to expect from the start of your son or daughter's time at Dudley Sixth. So a little bit about the wider college that Dudley Sixth is a part of. We're really proud of the college. We've built some really fantastic facilities. I'm conscious that with the restrictions recently, you may not have had the chance to come and see them yet. We hope you will be able to soon. But just to give you a little bit of an idea, we have what we call our learning quarters. We've got two learning quarters, one in the heart of Dudley, which is where Dudley Sixth itself is based, our dedicated centre for A-levels. But there are a number of other facilities around the Dudley Town Centre campus, including our arts and service sector building, which is called Dudley Evolve, our engineering and construction building, which is called Dudley Advanced, and a number of other facilities. So Dudley Sixth, based right in the centre of Dudley, hopefully you're aware where it is. Dudley Sixth building is dedicated purely to A-level learners, and only A-level learners have access to that building through their swipe card access. However, Dudley Sixth learners can access any of the other buildings in Dudley Learning Quarters if it supports their studies. So they do have access, and that includes using things like the sports facilities and all the rest of it across our wider campus. It's not our only learning quarter, however. Just for information, we do also have a Bridie Hill learning quarter. Won't be relevant to Dudley Sixth learners, but just so you're aware, that's where we've got some of our arts and digital and construction curriculum. And one thing that might be of interest to your son or daughter, or certainly in the future, is we're currently building a third phase, a third learning quarter, which will be called University Park. The first phase of that is opening this September with the creation of a brand new Institute of Technology. And what the University Park will offer is the opportunity for local people to go all the way through actually to degree locally. And that's to support more local people to find a really cost-effective solution to continuing on to higher education after they've finished with us. As I said, the first phase is an Institute of Technology opening this September. That will be offering degree and higher level programs in engineering, modern construction and medical technologies. And there'll be two further phases after that, including the creation of a centre around health and life sciences. So may be of interest to your son or daughter, perhaps when they're coming towards the end of their A-levels, and there'll be plenty of opportunity to find out more about that during their time with us. So that's a little bit about the learning quarter. What about how we work here? Well, we're really proud of what we do. We've built a really exciting campus here with some excellent facilities. I think your son or daughter's made a great choice in us. I'm bound to say that, aren't I, as a chief exec, but there's a few reasons why I say that. We are an Ofsted outstanding college, and we are actually one of the only colleges who've ever won the Queen's Anniversary Prize for Education. We're very proud of those, but they're great recognition of the work of our students. But there's much more to us than that. What we get a kick out of actually is seeing our students succeed and what they go on to do after their time with us. And that's how we ask people to judge us, really. And in that respect, Dudley Sixth learners, 100% of them passed last year, 88.9% of them achieving the high grades, and 96% of them went on to university, which is what most of our students choose to do at Dudley Sixth. The other 4% went straight into employment. So very good outcomes for students. And without going into lots of details, our students go off to all sorts of universities across the land, studying a whole range of disciplines. So we send students to the very best universities depending on their choice of university course and career. So that's how we get there. What does the course look like? So a little bit of insight. You're going to find out way more about this during induction, so I don't want to bombard you with too much information now, but it's useful for parents and guardians to have a bit of an overview. Your son or daughter will most likely be studying 3 A-levels with us, and for each of those A-levels, they will get 6 hours of delivery on site. That's more than most colleges offer. We try to give a little bit extra here in terms of face-to-face delivery, so 6 hours per subject. And we expect them to undertake 6 hours of self-study as well, linked to each subject. They'll also receive a 90-minute session with their personal tutor each week, and that covers a whole range of things, including supporting their progress in their course, monitoring how well they're getting on, delivering some of the pastoral support around the subject, and most importantly, of course, supporting them with planning for their next steps after college, including their applications to university and support with that. As well as that one-to-one support for the tutor, you'll also get support from your subject tutors. We do keep our class sizes pretty small at Dudley Sixth. It's another way that we make sure we're delivering that extra amount of support. And as well as the purely academic study and preparation for exams in university, we do like to try and get as much exposure to the real world as possible, and we'll look for work experience opportunities and work exposure opportunities for our students while they're with us at Dudley Sixth. So that's a little bit about the course. What about outside the classroom? Well, students really do speak about how much they appreciate the support, in particular, I think, at Dudley Sixth. I think it's what makes us stand out, really. And there are lots of ways that you can get that support. We have a whole range of dedicated support staff here, actually over 100 support staff across the college, who offer support on an ad hoc or a throughout the programme basis, depending on the needs of an individual. I won't go through all the particular services they offer now, but if people have got specific questions later, we'd be happy to hear them. We also provide all of our students with access, as you would expect, to online tools to support their self-study. Obviously, they've been very essential in the recent lockdowns. Let's hope there's no more of that to come, but they do still support the self-study, and that includes access to something called Pro Portal, which is a tool they can use to track their progress on their course. And obviously you, as parents or guardians, can encourage them to log on that from home if you want to know more about how they're getting on. We also have a whole team offering advice and guidance to students, including a dedicated member of staff based in Dudley Sixth, providing advice in relation to Ucas applications. That's the system for applying to university. You'll be amazed how quickly we start people on that journey, because the preparation for those applications can take some time. So we'll be talking to people quite early on in their course about their aspirations for university and how we can support them through that process. We've also got a student finance team here to provide support, and that can be advice and guidance around finances here and at university. They also administer our free college meals system. So if your son or daughter or young person was entitled to a free school meal at school, then they're entitled to a free college meal at college. And every young person at Dudley Sixth will get a free bus pass to use on Black Country bus routes. And that can be used to come to and from college. Obviously, we hope that you use it to come to and from college, but could also be used in their own time. Again, if anybody's got any questions about that later, please shout up. Lastly, we have a really active student union here. Most students rush off to join the student union so they can get their discount card, which obviously gives them all sorts of benefits. But the student union also engage in a lot of social activity and lobbying activity on the behalf of students, and a lot of clubs and societies that many of our students take part on. So lots of wraparound support outside of the programme as well. A little bit about how we work then. I won't go, again, not a huge amount of detail, but just so mums, dads, guardians are aware, we do ask students to sign up to a code of conduct on arrival at the college. That's Dudley Sixth students and our wider college students. Nothing ominous about it. It really just asks people to treat people as they expect to be treated. And that kind of gives you an idea of how we work here. It is a more adult environment. We're trying to work with students. It's not a school environment. But we do have a few requests, and your support with this will be much appreciated. Firstly, we will issue every student with an ID badge. You can see we're all wearing ours as well. They're very important, particularly important for Dudley Sixth learners, because they need that ID card to let themselves into the building because it's exclusive for their use. So if you can support us with that and make sure your son or daughter's leaving the house with their ID card, that'd be appreciated. Don't worry, we will let them in if they forget it, but the more we can encourage them to wear them, the better. It keeps everybody safe in the building. We'll obviously have access to a range of catering facilities, and anybody who's eligible for free college meals will have that credit added to their ID card. So it will also help them with payment as well. So it's a really important thing to remember. We do have some practical activities that students will take part in depending on what subjects they're doing, and some of that might require certain practical workwear. So again, your support in that would be appreciated. And I think it goes without saying, we have very little issue with this, but we've spent about 60 million creating the Learning Quarter and the buildings and facilities that your young people use. So we're really keen on making sure that they stay in fantastic condition, which I'm very proud to say they do. So that's a little bit about how we work. What about next steps? And I imagine this is what we'll have a number of questions about, but just to try and give you a whistle-stop tour first, and then we can pick up questions afterwards. There's a whole bunch of things that are going to be happening over the next few weeks. Firstly, we were planning on offering taster days the week after next, face-to-face taster days, where your son or daughter or a young person could have come in, met their tutor, had a bit of experience on the course and so on. Unfortunately, the Prime Minister's announcement on Monday means that we're now not permitted to do that because we can't return to face-to-face events. We are looking at whether we can get some alternatives in place in the next few weeks, perhaps some campus tours and things like that, once we get the clearance from Public Health. But what we will be doing is running some more online activities. So there'll be online taster activities and sessions running, and if your son or daughter has applied to Dudley Sixth, they'll get sent email invites to that information. That leads us up to Results Day. As you're hopefully aware, results come out earlier this year than any other year due to the impact of the pandemic. So they're out on the 12th of August. So what you can expect on the 12th of August, once GCSE results are out, you will get a phone call from us, and that will be the start of how we begin your son or daughter's enrolment onto the course. It's all done remotely over the summer, so no need to come into college. We'll give you a call, we'll be running through your results and your A-level choices with your son or daughter, and once we've confirmed that, you'll then get an electronic enrolment request sent out via email, fill in a few details and sign that registration, and that will secure your enrolment on the course. Once you do that, you'll then start to receive some further information from us, including a welcome video, some information about induction, how to access the electronic bus pass, and other important bits of information to help you prepare for the start of the course. So expect a phone call for us. It'll all be delivered remotely. No need to rush into college. As regards joining college, like I said, once you've enrolled, you'll get some joining instructions that'll give details of the induction program that you'll go through. There's a 2-day induction program at the start of the course and the first class information. So again, don't worry about that. It will all come out to you later in August following that enrolment period. Once your son or daughter or young person starts with us in September, we've got some really exciting things planned for the first half term. We are very conscious how difficult the last 2 weeks of study at school has been for young people, and we want to try and bring people back into education with a bang when they join us in September. Fingers crossed, no more lockdowns. So there'll be a load of support in place, lots to help people settle back into life and education, lots to make sure people are on the right course and so on. And there'll be opportunities for you as mums, dads and guardians to get involved. We'll be having formal parents consultations evenings a couple of times. Obviously, as I mentioned, you can keep an eye on Pro Portal, and we'll also be running some parent events during key stages of the year. So, for example, we do run some very popular events on how to support your son or daughter through exams and things like that. More details of that, obviously, you'll hear about later on. And then one final point just to make, and then we're going to move on to the question and answer session. We do, of course, get some people who change their mind about the course they've chosen. It happens every year. And we're concerned that it may happen more this year. Not concerned because we can't deal with it, but because People won't have necessarily been able to come to physical open days and talk to tutors as much as perhaps they would have liked. I'm hoping your son or daughter has been to some of our virtual open days, but you can't beat physically attending, really. So we're expecting that some people may well change their mind about the courses they've chosen when they join the college. Just to reassure moms, dads and guardians, that really isn't a problem. We're quite used to dealing with it. We have A-level students who decide they want to change their choices after they've started. So maybe they weren't sure about their 3 choices and want to change it slightly. We have A-level learners who decide that actually A-levels isn't the right choice for them and they would rather do a T-level or a vocational route, or even flip into an apprenticeship mode of study. We've dealt with everything really over the years. So if your son or daughter comes home and says they're not happy in any way, please do talk to us. Your first port of call is to talk to the personal tutor or talk to Horace, who you're going to hear more of today, and we'll work quickly to make that happen. We'd much rather see your son or daughter on a course that they enjoy and love, as they're much likely to be more successful if they do. If you can't reach personal tutor or anything, if you jump on the college website and click on About Us, you can see some terrible photos of all of us alongside phone numbers and email addresses for us all. So please get in touch and we'll get back to you as quick as we possibly can. So a little bit of an overview there. I hope that's been useful by way of an introduction and kind of set the scene. I'm sure you'll have lots of questions. In fact, I hope you've got lots of questions. Otherwise, this will be a rather boring question and answer session. So how does this work? You should be able to see a chat box in there where you can post questions in the Teams live event that you're looking at now. If you type away and hit return, we get those questions relayed over here and they eventually pop up at on this screen that I'm staring at to my right here. I'm going to do my best to field those questions and pass them on to the relevant members of the panel here. I'm sure they'll stick their hands up for whoever is relevant. So we'll go live now over to the questions if we can, folks. I'm just going to refresh that on our screen. Bear with me one moment. First question has come through then. So if my daughter's GCSE results don't allow her to join the course she wants, will she be offered an alternative, or do we lose our place? Diana, would you perhaps like to pick that one up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know it's going to be a really nervous time on GCSE results day, but if your daughter doesn't get the grades that she's expecting, please don't worry. She can talk to members of staff about what the options are, and there will always be an alternative opportunity within the college. We offer thousands of student programs across college at all levels, so just talk to us and someone will be able to give some advice and guidance about what the options are.
Absolutely. Okay, next question coming in now, and I think this one's probably for you, Horace. How many A-levels can I study?
Right, great question. So in the main, most of our learners opt to do 3 A-levels. The reason behind that is because we have to manage the workload. Essentially, each learner will have 6 hours contact time with their subject lecturers per week. Some of our learners will opt to do 4 A-levels. Some of those combinations might include doing chemistry, biology, maths, and further maths, for example. Some of our learners may do 3 A-levels alongside an EPQ qualification. So at the start of the academic year, there's a range of choice and plenty of opportunities for your son or daughter to make a right informed decision.
Brilliant, thank you, Horace. Okay, next question coming in. My daughter plans to study A-levels, but she's heard of T-levels. What's the difference, and should she be interested in them? Diana, probably a good one for you, I think.
Okay, so T-levels are a new qualification which launched last year. So we started with 3 T-levels initially, so a digital, an education, and a design, surveying and planning route. The idea is they're part of a curriculum reform nationally, so everyone, including parents and young people, understand what an A-level is. But in terms of technical training and vocational training, there's so many qualifications it can become confusing. So what the government have tried to do is introduce T-levels so that they are aligned to the A-level, so people understand them more, and it reduces the number of qualifications that are available. But so people really understand it. They are different to A-levels in that there is a huge work experience expectation as part of the T-levels. So in addition to the core components of study that you'd have to do for the academic and technical skills training, you would also be expected to do 315 hours of industry placement as part of the T-level with an employer.
Brilliant, thank you, Diana. And if your daughter wants to know more about that, I recommend picking up the phone and talking to one of our advice and guidance team if she wants to know more about the differences between the two. Okay, question for you then, I think. Horace, do I have to wear a uniform in Dudley Sixth?
It's a very common question. Essentially, we want obviously learners to feel comfortable, but also obviously display the right image. Essentially, throughout your different kind of courses and subjects, you might have to wear like a lab coat, for example, if you're undertaking any of our science provisions. In design and technology, like product design, you may have to wear like an overall. So in terms of your standardised uniform, just obviously, you know, be appropriate, but it will also be informed by different subject combinations as well.
But no formal uniform, just to reassure you that ends at school. Okay, next question. Can you support me travelling to college? Do I get a bus pass? So yes, I mentioned this briefly in the introductory talk, but just to explain a little bit more, absolutely every full-time 16 to 18-year-old, both at Dudley Sixth and at the wider college actually, is entitled to a bus pass. We don't run our own buses. Those are so you can actually access the network buses across the Midlands. And that bus pass works during college hours and in the evenings and weekends as well. So it's a bus pass for the entire duration of your time here at college. So hopefully that supports you in travelling to college and has the benefit of being able to be used outside as well. Next question, back to you, I think, Horace, on this one. Will I need a laptop to study A-levels?
Great question. Not necessarily. We will provide you with ample opportunity to engage in our iPoints, which we have at Dudley Sixth and the wider college. If a learner requires a laptop, then we will obviously encourage that young person to speak to myself or one of my management team, and we can obviously discuss that on a one-to-one basis. We have provided learners with laptops throughout this academic year to engage with their programs of study and make sure that they're on top of their revision, preparation, and kind of on top of their study skills.
Brilliant, thank you, Horace. And as Horace said, iPoints, by the way, are our drop-in IT centres. So they're available across our campus. There are 2 based in Dudley Sixth. So in the self-study hours, people can use our drop-in IT centres if they don't have access to their own IT. Okay, next question. If you want to change your course, can you do it whenever, or is there a time limit? Diana, good question, this one, I think.
Yeah, really good question. You can change your courses, there's no problem. Also, if you make the wrong decision about which A-level combinations you want, or whether you wanted to move on to a technical program or an apprenticeship, what we try to say is 6 weeks really is the time we try to get people onto the right course, because if you go much further than 6 weeks, then it's really difficult to catch up, and what we don't want to do is set people up to fail. So absolutely you can change, but we try to make sure that we've got you onto the right course within 6 weeks.
So that's the October half term is kind of our cut-off really, when we really try and make sure people are on the right programme. Okay, if my child lives in Walsall, will they still be entitled to a bus pass? That's a very simple question. Yes. So yes, they are still entitled to a bus pass if they live in Walsall. Do you get a free bus pass for the duration of the course, or is it just until Christmas? As I just mentioned that one, so it might have overlapped on questions, but yes, it's for the full duration of the course. Okay, next question. What's better to do, A-levels or an apprenticeship? That's a great question. I'll have a go at that one. There is no what's better to do, actually. It's all down to individual. But if I explain perhaps the difference, there are essentially 3 routes available to young people now. You can do A-levels, which is what I imagine the bulk of people on this programme or young people are looking to study. So that's where you pick 3 typically A-level subjects, as Horace specified. Most of the outcome is based on your exams at the end, and it's most often the preferred route for people looking to go through to university. There are then vocational technical programs, including the T-levels that Diana mentioned there. We have lots of people go to university through that route as well, but some people use it to go directly into employment. And for that, you can only pick one subject. So you do a vocational subject in engineering or IT or business or whatever it might be. And then the third route is apprenticeships. Now, the difference between apprenticeships is very much you are employed first. So you get the job first. And again, we can help with placing people into apprenticeship jobs, but you get the job first, and then your employer releases you a day a week to study at college. So instead of you being full-time at college and then occasionally going out on work experience, things like that, you are full-time at work and coming 1 day per week into college to complete your qualifications. And that's those qualifications would be apprenticeship standards. So you can't study A-levels as an apprentice. They are a different qualification. So what's better is really absolutely a very personal decision about how you like to study, academic versus technical, whether you want to go straight into the world of work yet. It's a very personal decision. And if you're unsure about that, my very best advice would be pick up the phone and speak to one of our advice and guidance team to chat that through in a bit more detail. Next question. My son applied late, brackets yesterday. What are his chances of getting in ready for September? It's not a problem at all. Horace, do you want to perhaps reassure on that one?
Absolutely. So thank you for obviously submitting your application. What will happen is that you will receive correspondence from the college once all the Gcse results have been released. There will be an enrolment process where you'll have the opportunity to engage with one of our lecturers from Dudley Sixth, go through all the subject options and combinations, and make sure that the program of study is in place for your son or daughter come September.
So it's never too late, it's a short answer. Well, it is eventually too late, but we even accept people immediately after the course has started. So you've not missed any deadline. Next question. My daughter has special educational needs. How can you support her? Diana, one for you, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So if your daughter, was it daughter? Yes, if your daughter has acknowledged that she has special educational needs or a support need on her application form, I'm hoping one of our inclusion team will have contacted your daughter to have a chat through what the needs are and how we can best meet them. If you didn't declare it on the application, don't worry, we can do that at enrolment, or you can just contact our admissions team now and they will be able to put one of our inclusion team in touch with you. If you haven't heard from the inclusion team, just let admissions know and then we will be able to give you a call, talk through your needs and make sure that that support is in place. We do support students right across the college, including in Dudley Sixth.
Thank you, Diana. Okay. Another one for you, I think, here, Horace. What would happen at the end of your first college year if you were to fail?
Right, so that's a great question, but let me just give you reassurance. Essentially, we've got the whole academic year to work with you as a young person, to support you. There would be various intervention carried out from your subject lecturer, from the management team, from your personal tutors, to make sure that you're on track, fulfilling your potential, and we're designed there to foster that support. So by the time that you get to the end of the academic year, you're going into your exams very confident, you're very well prepared, and you are making a transition onto the second year. If the worst case scenario happened and you were to kind of fail one subject, then obviously we'll review the options and obviously look at a program of study for you. If you underperformed, which is not kind of likely because there's obviously support and intervention throughout the academic year for that young person, we'll have loads of opportunities for those individuals to explore. So there will certainly be some sort of pathway ready for you if you decided to make a transition away from A-levels at that point.
As Horace says, one of the advantages at study at Dudley Sixth is if you decide that's not the right route for you, even if it's the end of year one, and you decide you want to flip to a different mode, a T-level, a BTEC, an apprenticeship, whatever it might be, all of those are available here at the wider college. So we're very used to helping people who need to change tack. Okay, relatively quick question, I think. Horace, can you study criminology as an A-level?
Absolutely. So quite a lot of our learners will study criminology alongside 2 A-levels. So the criminology course is an applied course, is equivalent to 1 A-level. And in terms of a package, you would do that alongside 2 additional A-levels.
Brilliant, thank you. And I might stick with you on here, Horace. I'm firing all of these at you, but I think they're most relevant. What are typical college hours for an A-level student, and when do I get my timetable? So,
like I said before, all of our learners will have 6 hours per subject per week. In terms of a typical timetable, it will vary depending on the subject combination for that learner. So, for example, if they've done like accounts, fine art, and photography, for example, then maybe in over 3 or 4 days. what we'd encourage all learners to do is not only go to lessons, but also do 6 hours independent studying to support that learning that takes place in the classroom environment, just to reinforce that knowledge and understanding. In terms of receiving a timetable, typically you would receive your timetable during the induction period. So like I said before, the college will be sending out some further correspondence to give you that reassurance, carry out that enrolment period during August, and then set you up for induction. And you'll be given more information about start dates, your timetable, and just the general expectations from Dudley Sixth as well.
Okay, thank you, Horace. Regarding the 6 hours independent study, is that 6 hours per week per subject? So we'll be around 36 hours in total. 36 hours including your time in college, yes. So you'd have 18 taught hours and then an expectation of 18 self-study hours. And we can build quite a bit of those self-study hours around your time in college. We do encourage students to do that. If you've come into college, maybe you've got lessons all morning, why not use one of our study facilities here at college and stay the rest of the day to get your study done with us rather than having to go home and do it. So, but yes, to get the very, very best grades, we do encourage people to undertake that sort of level of self-study, which is pretty typical for A-levels. Next question, will there be an option to do EPQs alongside A-levels?
Yeah,
Horace, one for you.
Yeah, great question. So yes, learners will have the opportunity to do an EPQ alongside A-levels. We just have to be mindful that we get the balance right, because doing 3 A-levels is very demanding and taxing, and we just want to make sure that the learners are fulfilling their potential and maximising their performance. So what we tend to do during the induction period, we'll present a number of opportunities to all of our young people and help them make an informed decision about their programme of study going forward.
Okay, we're getting a lot your way here, Horace, as I suspected. I feel like me and Diana are getting an easy ride here. Does the college provide textbooks needed for A-level subjects, or do we as parents have to purchase these? Back to you again, Horace.
Yeah, another smashing question. So for every subject that we offer at Dudley Sixth, you will be provided with a textbook that is loaned out to you for the whole academic year to obviously keep on top of your studies and support any in-class assessments and so forth. What tends to happen is that depending on your subject, you might be issued with a textbook in year 1. That will be obviously retrieved at the end of the academic year and then issued like a second year textbook, for example. So just to give you reassurance, all of those textbooks will be provided at the start of the academic year just to support you throughout your programme of study with us.
Brilliant, thank you, Horace. Next question, does my hair colour have to be a natural colour as part of the uniform? And can I wear makeup? Now, I don't claim to be an expert on hair and makeup, so I may pass this to Diana, but just to reinforce again, there isn't a uniform requirement, but perhaps you can reassure people about hair and makeup, Diana.
No, absolutely. There is no expectation around hair and makeup. This isn't like school. It is a it is a more adult environment. Our student union president has purple and pink hair, and I'm pretty sure that's not natural, so it's absolutely no problem at all.
Too right, absolutely. As I say, which is meant to be a more adult study environment that you're moving into now. Okay, following on from not getting the grades you think you may get, can you still do the course for 2 subjects whilst retaking a Gcse and then start the 3rd A-level a year later? Quite a complicated route, that, Horace. Has it been done before?
That's a great question. Most of our learners will do 3 A-levels. Like I explained before, it is quite demanding and taxing on that individual. Each subject obviously requires specific entry requirements, so those have to be kind of reviewed and informed in terms of any decision making. Some of our learners will have the opportunity to sit there, do their A-levels, but also retake potentially a Gcse English or Gcse Maths, but ultimately it depends on the entry requirements for the specific A-levels that they decide to do.
The other thing, just to stress, as we mentioned before, if it turns out that you are very much adrift on where you hope to be around GCSE results, don't worry. We have just as many students go to university through vocational and technical routes as we do through A-level routes. So it might be that there's a different route that may be more appropriate that would support you through that. So the important thing is just to have that conversation once you get your results. Okay, similar question to before, but related to my son has a medical condition, Diana, and are we able to provide support for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a college, we employ a personal care assistant who not only does personal care, but she maintains all of our medication plans, and we can administer medication. So we have staff who are trained for that. So what I would say is, again, contact our admissions team. We can put you in touch with that lady, and she'll be able to talk you through what she'll be able to provide in terms of support for your son's individual needs.
Brilliant. Thank you, Diana. Back over to you for this one, Horace. Is it possible to do 4 A levels, sorry, and then possibly drop to 3 if you decide that's too much in year 2?
Right, so at the start of the academic year, we just want to obviously make sure that all of our young people are making the right decisions about their programme of study. Like I said before, most of our A-level learners would do 3, a fair few would do 4 A-levels. And generally speaking, those who obviously do 4 will carry those through to year 13. And we're looking at obviously fulfilling their potential. Some of our learners will obviously do 4 depending on what their kind of career aspirations are. So some may do 4 A-levels to go into like medicine, for example. So we just need to make sure that our programme of study is suitable for that individual, and we take those on a case-by-case basis.
I think the point to make there is it's probably better to be committed to doing those 4 for the full duration of the 2 years, really, as opposed to just the first year. It's quite an undertaking to do 4 A-levels, and we'd rather see that through and get you the outcome for it. Diana, do I need to do work over the summer before joining?
Yeah, so and Horace can chip in at any point, but my understanding is there will be activities sent out across the summer to try and give you some preparatory work so that you are ready in September, because we're aware that for some students, some of the A-levels or subjects they'll be picking, they may not have studied at Gcse, they may be brand new to them. So absolutely, we'll be sending out, as part of our taster activity, there'll be some activities sent out over the summer for you to complete.
Absolutely, just to give you reassurance, that will be applied to all of our A-level provision. The reason being is we know that it's obviously been difficult for our young people who are currently finishing off year 11, and we just want to make sure that we support them as best as possible. There will be some activity to engage throughout the summer that will be followed up with an enrolment task when you enrol. It's just to kind of whet the appetite, get you prepared for that intense work starting September. But we just want to make sure that it's a smooth transition for all of our young people.
And if we just stay with you on that one, Horace, very related to that question, it says the next one is, will we get a list of pre-readings or textbooks before we start?
Generally, it's more to do with some of the concepts that you'll be exploring in year 1. So you won't necessarily need any textbooks as such. The members of staff will be providing resources, which will be coming to you kind of over email and other forms of communication as well. So not necessarily any textbooks, but you certainly will have the resources to get a nice head start.
And just to stress as well, we're not expecting you to pre-buy any of those. And a reminder that we do have a large library here, so which you'll have access to, or your son or daughter will have access to. So, a lot of those textbooks you'll be able to just borrow from our library here. Okay, next question. Can you confirm that the taster days that started 28th of June are now cancelled? They are in the form that we planned them. We planned face-to-face taster days because we hoped that was the end of the 21st of June roadmap. And so we planned for the following week to offer taster days that are face-to-face, opportunity to meet the tutor and have a try on your course. Obviously, we can't do those now. We've been informed by Public Health we can't do those. We're now, as Horace said, moving to virtual versions of those. So there'll still be activities happening, but they'll be online. And then we're looking at maybe being able to introduce some more face-to-face things when you get nearer towards the start of the course, when we really hope that we're all out of the current restrictions that still affect us. So sadly, the face-to-face taste days are not happening, but the virtual equivalents will still be going ahead, and there'll be details of that coming out on the website. We are also looking to see if we might be able to offer campus tours, subject to Public Health agreeing to it, but socially distanced campus tours, so you can at least come and have a look around in small groups. And again, we'll publish details of that the minute we're able to do it on our website and via social media. Next question. What time does a college day start? So you want to give us a kind of typical feel for a timetable, Horace?
Yeah, so obviously, depending on the subject combinations that your your son or daughter will undertake in September, that will kind of be the driving force behind the timetable. Generally, most of our learners will start at 8:45 at the start of the day and finish around about 4 o'clock, half 4. It all depends on obviously their subject combinations, the volume of A-levels that they undertake as well. So yeah, great opportunities to support their kind of wider reading, prepare for any in-class assessments within that timetable, but generally starts at 8:45.
And just while sticking with you on that one, Horace, how many days typically would a person be in if they were doing 3 A-levels?
Normally it would run over 3 or 4 days, but you will have obviously ample opportunity to engage with independent studying. The reason behind that is because we want to obviously enable our young people to maximise their potential, and by doing that, it gives them every opportunity to be successful in the future.
Okay, and a really practical question here. What stationery do pupils need to bring? Do they need to bring ring binders, notepads, etc.? Horace, any kit list?
Right, so going based off this academic year, all of our learners are very diverse in terms of how they kind of prepare. A lot of learners will kind of buy subjects per folders per subject. Some will kind of bring plastic wallets, some will bring colourful pens, highlighters, markers, you name it. Most of our learners will kind of have, a stationery pack that's obviously suitable for them. You will obviously be in a position to make notes. So some of our learners will do that obviously in a written format because that's what they're preparing for kind of the written exams at the end of the academic year. Some will bring in kind of tablets at their own discretion. It all depends on what works best for that individual.
Brilliant, thank you, Horace. Next question, will my daughter be part of a tutor group with other students? So I think you mean the personal tutor group here, and yes, you would. All Dudley Sixth students are. So alongside the 3 A-level subjects you've got where they'll go and visit their subject tutors, they will also have an hour and a half per week with their personal tutor, which is where we pick up the sort of cross-college stuff, the pastoral support, monitoring of progress, and also support towards university applications and so on. So they'll meet that tutor every week in a 90-minute session, and sometimes it will be a group activity and sometimes it will be one-to-one reviews with their personal tutor. I think that covers that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So that kind of 90-minute session with that personal tutor is quite crucial. It kind of brings the programme of study together. Within those tutorial sessions, they'll be developing their skills, looking at further opportunities such as work experience, looking at cross-college kind of agenda items, looking at what's happening in society, but it's designed to help and support that individual. But at the same time, it's also about interacting with other people. So developing those skills to work as part of a team, develop their communication skills, potentially leadership skills as well. And within the tutorial program, there will be plenty of opportunities. So some of our learners will sign up to be a student ambassador, for example. Those individuals will help out with, open day events, mentoring learners, and just representing the, Dudley Sixth in the best light possible.
Brilliant, and don't forget what I mentioned as well about all the clubs and societies and things like that that are available through the student union and others. Your son or daughter will learn out way more about those when they join us. Okay, let me just make sure I haven't lost my thread of where we are. Okay, Diana, I think next one for you. I think what type of support does a college give to students with finding work experience opportunities?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that one. Good question. We have an employment hub at the college, so we have a team of staff who work with over 3,000 employers. So if your son and daughter was looking for a work experience opportunity and they weren't able to source one themselves, they could go into the employment hub, have a chat with the staff in there, and they would support them in looking for placements. So that wouldn't be a problem. If they chat to their personal tutor in the first instance, and then they could direct them to someone from the employment hub if they were looking for a work experience opportunity and they couldn't find one themselves that was suitable.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Diana. Next question, what are the grade expectations to get into Dudley Sixth? Well, as Horace mentioned, and I'll come to Horace in a moment for this, every A-level has its own entry requirements. If you go on the Dudley Sixth website, you can see the entry requirements for each A-level subject, and that, if you've already applied, that will have been made clear to you and would have been included in your offer letter. But there is a follow-on question there, Horace, which we've picked up on slightly, but obviously different A-level combinations might need different grade profiles, and what would it do if you didn't get the grades for one particular subject? Would you be rejected from the college? So perhaps just talk people through what happens when they get their grades and how that decision process
no problem
happens.
whatsoever. So when we obviously enroll learners, we treat them as an individual, and we take it obviously case by case. We do have obviously general entry requirements for all of our A-level provision. What we tend to do is obviously take the time to meet with those individuals on a one-to-one basis to review their program of study, make sure that the combination is right for them. We would obviously look at their Gcse results, and that will obviously inform a conversation around the A-level options that they're able to undertake. If you weren't able to get onto a specific subject, then there will be obviously opportunity to explore other A-levels within our provision. We would just want to make sure that those young people are making the right decisions about their futures. It is driven by a conversation. So what we tend to do is look at the aspirations of those learners. So if they came to us in terms of our one-to-one conversation and said that I wanted to go into physiotherapy, for example, we would look at kind of all the different pathways that will enable that young person to get to that destination. So there'd be loads of opportunities to explore A-levels as a provision, but like Neil referenced earlier, there will be an opportunity to explore other pathways within the college, but like I said, it's driven by that individual's kind of career aspirations.
Brilliant, thanks Horace. I mean, the big underlying message that I hope you're getting here is please don't fly into a panic if your GCSE results aren't quite what you were expecting. We're quite used to dealing with it, and we'll try and find a solution that works for you. There is a place for you here at the college. Okay, quite a nice question this, Horace. Will there be trips? Is there any fun at Dudley Sixth? Great question.
So yes, we do run a number of educational trips on a year-to-year basis. Some of our learners have obviously been to New York, Berlin, Italy, for example. Some of the educational visits might include visiting local universities, for example, maybe going to a Crown Core. It's very much obviously subject specific. So throughout the academic year, your subject lecturers will be kind of discussing potential opportunities to engage with some of our educational visits, to not only develop you as in the academic manner, but also give you the opportunity to apply some of the concepts to real life scenarios and situations. In terms of fun, based on student feedback, they love it at Dudley Sixth, and through kind of our young people, they normally kind of recommend it to the younger levels. We're really excited to be at Dudley Sixth. It's a great atmosphere. We feel very supportive. And in terms of what makes our Dudley Sixth communities are the young people who are within the campus. And they obviously have tons and tons of fun. But it's a nice balance at the same time. They obviously focus on their academic studies, but also have fun at the same time.
Too right. Thank you, Horace. Okay, a couple of questions about sort of college life. I might fire these your way, Diana, if I can. First of all, for independent study, can my daughter come into college on her days off, even if she doesn't have a lesson that day?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a number of iPoint facilities which are drop-in computer usage. There are two over at Dudley Sixth, but there's also a huge library and iPoint at our main campus in Broadway and at all of our campuses. And the idea there is that students have access to our IT systems and facilities whenever they need to come and use them. So yes, absolutely. Come in and study on days off as well.
And just to stick with you on that one, Diana, while we're talking about sort of life on campus, very practical question: can I go off-site for lunch? And do you have halal food at lunchtime? Yeah,
so absolutely. Some students, we're very close to the town centre, so some students do choose to go off-site at lunchtime, which is fine. And yes, we do have halal options at all of our eateries across the campus.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, another couple of practical questions for you, I think, Horace. One very simple one: is computing the same as computer science?
Right, so in terms of the A-level package, it's referred to as computer science. We do have obviously alternative courses within the college which are referred to as computing, but there's obviously different pathways. So normally A-levels are referred to as computer science. You will undertake some of the same content, but it may be assessed slightly differently.
Brilliant. Okay, and sticking with you, Horace, another question. What is the average class size?
Absolutely great question. And this is what kind of appeals to some of our learners. In terms of average class sizes, they are generally quite small. The reason for that is to foster that support and create that atmosphere where kind of learners flourish and fulfill their potential. I can't put a set figure on it or a set number. It will vary from subject to subject, but they are relatively small across all provision.
Okay, thank you both. I'll take a nice easy question now. I haven't given you the tricky ones. Question, do I have to be a member of the Students' Union? So do I have to be a member of the Students' Union? No is the answer to that question. You don't have to be a member of the Students' Union at all. Most people do, if only so that they can get the NNES card, which gets you cheap cinema and cheap shops and McDonald's and all that sort of thing. But no, you're under no obligation at all, but you are 100% entitled to join. Next question, who will help me apply for university, and then can I apply for more than one? I'll kick this off, and I'm guessing Horace is going to want to wade in here as well. We're absolutely geared up to help you apply for university. That's why we have so many of our students. As you saw before, 96% of last year's students went on to university. So your personal tutor will support you with that, and will give you advice on things like writing your personal statement and choosing university options. We've got a team here who can help with organising visits to universities. We actually have HE careers fairs here at the college where universities come in so that you can meet with them. So there'll be lots of opportunities there. And absolutely you can, and indeed probably should, apply for more than one university. Horace, do you want to perhaps pick up that as well?
Absolutely. So it's the Ucas process is a bit of a journey. We start having conversations in the first year of your A-level programme of study. It's a multi-dimensional support discipline, so you will get support from your personal tutor to help you build your personal statement, secure work experience where possible. That will be further reinforced by subject lecturers, by the management team, by our careers advisors at Dudley Sixth as well. You may be inspired through some of our educational visits, perhaps potentially. We do hold a number of events throughout the academic year designed to, provoke a bit of discussion, a bit of thought, and obviously raise aspirations. In terms of just speaking about our learner experience recently, they undertook an R2P program, which was over 2 days. There was a number of workshops designed for giving advice about personal statements, living at home but going to university, making the right choice, how many options, when do I need to apply, giving you all the essential kind of information to help you make an informed decision about your choices. Generally on that Ucas application, you have up to 5 choices, but throughout the process, you'll be meeting with your personal tutor on a one-to-one basis to discuss those and obviously finalise your application. And like Neil said, 96% of our learners will go into higher education and will be very successful.
Thank you, Horace. And as you can probably tell from Horace there, don't worry, the support to go through to university will be a very big part of your programme here. OK, a couple of quick questions then. When we receive our GCSE results, do we contact you immediately about the results? No, as I said, we will contact you. So we've got a team of people here. We'll be working down a list, so don't worry. You'll get a phone call from us and we'll phone you individually, go through your GCSE results, confirm the A-level choices that you're going for, and then send you out the enrolment details for you to sign and register. So no, you don't need to get in contact with us. We will call you. So look out for that call. If you're concerned, by the way, we did have a question in the last parent talk that they're concerned that their phone number or contact details might have changed since you applied. If that's the case, no problem, pick up the phone and phone our student admissions people and just give them the new details, or you can email them in. Again, the details are on the website. Next question, for child benefit purposes, when does the course finish? How can I find out? Are you talking about the sort of end of term date there? Now we're coming to the end of our term now, so tomorrow will be typically the end of our term date for A-level learners. So 18th of June this year, so middle of June basically is the end of the academic year. I hope that helps. Obviously, you'll get a full timetable and a full calendar schedule on enrolment, so that'll give you a bit more information holiday dates and things like that if you need it. Question 4, how long is lunchtime and can I go home and back for the afternoon? Very practical question, anybody?
I'm happy to answer that. So generally lunch is about 50 minutes just because that sits in the timetable block. So it will either be 12 till 12:50 or it'll be 12:50 till 1:40 or 1:35. So they, and yes, if you live close enough that you could walk home, have your lunch and come back, then that's not a problem. The same as going off site and having lunch, that's absolutely fine.
And of course, Horace, it might be the case that they've got a study session after or before lunch that might make that slightly elongated, depending on their timetable.
Absolutely.
I suppose.
Just speaking from learners that are currently at Dudley Sixth, most of them will opt to kind of be on campus. Normally they'll kind of bring kind of lunches with them, but they will have the opportunity to kind of go to the town centre, for example, and bring back lunch and so forth. But it's an opportunity to engage with their peers as well at lunchtime. So generally most of our learners will stay on campus.
Okay, next question. I'll fire this your way, Diana, if I can. I can't decide if I want to come to Dudley Sixth or stay at my school's sixth form. How can you help me decide?
Well, it would be remiss of me to say you should absolutely.
We might be slightly biased.
A little bit biased, but no, I think it's worth having a chat with perhaps Horace or one of his team about Dudley Sixth. If you haven't attended any of the other kind of more curriculum focused virtual open events, then if you contact Horace Dennis, he'll be able to put you in touch with some subject teachers. Maybe he might be able to talk to you and give you some advice about the experience at Dudley, where our students go on to, what the achievement rates are like on those programs. And then you could do the same with your sixth form at your school as well, and then you've got an informed decision. So I would get as much information out of both institutions as you possibly can, so then you've got all of the facts and then you could decide. And if we do get to a position where you are able to come for a campus tour, if you haven't yet visited Dudley Sixth, I would recommend it. Keep an eye on our website and socials because we'll be letting you know as soon as we can do those. And I would recommend visiting Dudley Sixth because it's a fabulous facility. And actually, as part of the Learning Quarter, visit all of our facilities because there are some fantastic facilities that are available for all of our Dudley Sixth students. So it would be worth, I would say, doing that to make a decision.
Can I just add to that as well? So in terms of what sells Dudley Sixth to most of our learners is, one, the range of provision. We offer a very diverse amount of A-levels. 2, obviously it's the 6 hours contact time with their subject lecturers, which is the best in the region. 3 is the support that we offer our young people at Dudley Sixth. Like I said, it's a multi-dimensional approach. They get supported by their subject lecturers, their personal tutor, by their peers. We have obviously a mentoring scheme as well. There's obviously loads of opportunities for our young people. Loads of our learners will go on to higher education. There will be plenty of opportunities within the college as well to take full advantage of, being part of our student union, for example. So take the time to come and have a conversation with us, engage with us through our virtual events. Like Neil said, we will be potentially offering some campus tours. So that's a fantastic opportunity to come and have that interaction with us as well. When your results get released in August, again, there'll be an opportunity to interact with either myself or one of my team. But there's plenty of opportunities, loads of support. And like I said, it's just a fantastic environment to fulfill your potential.
There you go. That's Horace doing his best not to be biased at all there. Brilliant. OK, last couple of questions. I can see we're running out of time on the clock now, but we'll see if we can squeeze another quick couple in. I can probably field this one. What software do I need at home on my computer? You don't necessarily need any software at home on your computer. We do supply you with an Office 365 account, which will give you all the Microsoft Office products and Microsoft Teams for remote access to your study materials and all that sort of thing. You'll get an email account and cloud storage will all be provided as part of your account here. It might be that you're using certain software packages as part of the training program you are studying, for example, product design use, 3D design packages and things like that. That's all available here in the college and in the study spaces. So there's no requirement for you to purchase any of that for a study at home. Obviously, if you want advice of that from the tutor, if you choose to, then by all means do, and they can pick that up. One last one for you, Diana, perhaps, and then a final one for Horace after that. Diana, I suffer from anxiety. Can you support me on a daily basis?
Yes, so we have a number of students who suffer from anxiety and attend college with us. Obviously, there's the support of your personal and subject tutors who are used to dealing with students who are anxious, and especially for students who are coming in having had 2 years of disrupted education, and also maybe haven't been to the face-to-face and met the people who are going to be on their course. That's usual. So there'll be the daily support from your personal tutor. We do have support staff who do meet and greet with students when they require them, just to check in on them on a morning before they go into college to make sure they're feeling okay. We have a daily drop-in with our counselling service. You don't have to book that. You can just turn up and chat through any concerns or worries that you've got, and they're based. We've got those based both in our learning quarter at Brierley Hill and within the learning quarter at Dudley, and they've also, as we've all had to, adapted to working much more virtually, so can do support via Teams if that's required, or just a check-in kind of call, really. So absolutely we can support you with that.
Brilliant, thank you, Diana. Last question for you then, Horace. I think you've fielded more than enough tonight, thank you. Are there any specific work experience pathways or extracurricular activities that the college offers for students which would help enrich their personal statement?
Smashing question, and my direct response is absolutely. Loads of extracurricular activities, loads of work experience opportunities. Like I said, we really personalise it to the young person. We do it on a one-to-one basis. We have that conversation about their career aspirations, what's the next transition will look like, and that obviously informs a conversation. From there, they may be referred to another member of the team or wider college to take full advantage of those opportunities that were presented to them. That information will be presented to all learners during the induction period, but throughout the academic year. So just keep a watch out for them. And when those opportunities come, please take full advantage of them.
If I could just add as well, just the student union, just engage with anything the student union are doing. We have a student council, we have class reps for every course so that you can represent your peers and give feedback to the senior management team about how the course is going. That always looks good on a personal statement. We do run the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. We also have a team sport, competitive team sport on a Wednesday afternoon in a range of sporting activities. As Horace said, I think just immerse yourself in as much of college life as you possibly can.
And for example, we've also got things like the Earth Society Club. We also have obviously prefects. We have like a mentoring scheme. So within all of those kind of opportunities, there's an opportunity to develop your skill set, meet new people, socialise, and like I said, obviously maximise your performance throughout your programme of study as well.
Brilliant, thank you both. Well, we've come to the end of our questions and we've run out of time, I'm afraid. Can I just say a massive thank you to everybody who's put questions up. It would have been a bit of a poor event without any questions, and I'm sure the questions you've asked have been helpful to other people as well, so a massive thank you. If we didn't get to any of your questions, we've done our best to try and fill them, but there's a lot coming in. If there's any questions we haven't answered, then drop an email to us. You can see our admissions email address on the website, or like I say, you can see direct contact email addresses for all of us on the website. Drop us an email and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. Try and remember some of those next steps, folks. So keep an eye out on the website and socials for as soon as we're able to do taster days or campus tours or anything like that. Keep an eye on your email for when we'll be sending out virtual taster events and keep warm activity, as Horace was talking about before. And then the next thing you'll hear from us is a call on results day on the 12th of August, when we very much hope to be offering you a place here at Dudley Sixth. Thank you ever so much for your time today. I hope you've found the question and answer session helpful and it's helped inform your next steps a bit. We really do appreciate you giving up your time on the evening. Thank you ever so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.